There's a new false prophet doing the rounds on the internet who claims that he is the successor to Jesus, that he is the true pope, and that he is the successor to all of these important figures in Islam. Focusing on the Christianity bit though, you would think that if he were the successor to Jesus, then he would perfectly embody the lifestyle and the teaching and the way of Jesus. And yet, I'm going to show you a few things that are totally at odds with the way that Jesus did things and the way that he said his followers would act. So this is the guy. His name is Abba al-Sadiq, and I want you to pay attention to what he says, how he says it, and also we'll have a look at like the way that he is positioned in this place where he's saying it. So let's run the clip.
I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ. I am the true and legitimate Pope. I am the proof upon the Christians. I am the son of the Muslims through my father, and the son of the Christians and the Jews through my mother. I am the son of the East through my father, and the son of the West through my mother. I am like Zulqarnain, who with one horn in the East and one in the West, and I am the inheritor of all that lies between. I am more knowledgeable than any false pope, and I am appointed by name in the will of the prophets. My name is also on the tongue of Isaiah, who prophesied of the righteous servant, and he said, he will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. According to you, Jesus alayhi salam had no offspring, and his days were cut short. But I am that servant. I am Abdullah, the righteous servant of God. I am also the righteous servant mentioned by Jesus alayhi salam when he said, who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord when he cometh shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all of his goods. And I was made ruler over all his goods.
Now there's a lot in that. I'm not right now going to go through all of the claims, all of the theological stuff there. I think there are a lot of problems there with this sort of like syncretism between Islam and Christianity, trying to like fuse them together as if they are two halves of the one whole. I think that's sort of bogus. But looking at this whole situation, and I'll pull it up again, this man is on a stage that looks like it's about 10 feet up in the air. If you see the people in the crowd, they're all fully like looking up like this. He is so elevated above everybody else. All of the lights are shining on him, and behind him and possibly around him, there are all sorts of murals. There's a mural of what appears to be himself. Maybe it's not, but it looks like it is supposed to be a depiction of himself. And he comes and says, I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. I'm more knowledgeable than any pope. I'm the true successor to Jesus and to the Apostle Simon Peter. The thing there is that everything about this seems to be elevating him. Okay, he himself is elevating him in the design of that stage, in the lighting, in the whole atmosphere. It's all about him. He is lifting himself up and saying, I'm the guy. But think about what Jesus calls his followers to be. If you think of the words of John the Baptist in John 3:30, John the Baptist was losing followers to Jesus, and his followers were like, yo, what's going on? And he says, he must become greater. Jesus must become greater. I must become less. That is the attitude that we as Christians are to have. And then if you think about the Beatitudes, Jesus says, like, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. It's not about power. It's not about stomping on other people to get your way to the top and saying, I'm the best. You need to follow me. Everybody respect me. Because Mark 10:45 tells us that even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. It seems this man has a lot of people who really look up to him, who chant his name when he comes on the stage. There are accusations, I'm sure more is going to come out. There are accusations that he's sleeping with all of his followers, that he's building this commune in somewhere in, it's like Nevada, or I can't remember exactly where, that he's building this little commune in America where everybody's going to come and live together, and he's going to be their leader. Jesus, what leadership looked like for Jesus was washing his disciples' feet. In John 13, whenever he says he washes their feet and takes on the form and the role of the lowliest servant, and he says, I've done this for you to set you an example that you should do this for each other. Just on like a vibe level, people will critique that, but I think there's a certain merit and value to just like sort of taking the general impression that you get of something. As I said, like if you want, I can look into a little bit more of the theological claims he's making, make some videos about like the stuff that he's saying about like being the successor to Jesus, why that's so problematic. Some of the stuff about Christianity and Islam, I'm not an expert in that, but it's interesting. I could look into it. Just on a vibes level though, this is so far from the way of Christ. I like for the guy to stand up and say he's the successor to Jesus, and then just do it in a way that is so contrary to the way that Jesus said his followers would look and be. And then wait do you see this? This is the funny thing. I don't know. It almost seems as if he's trolling, like as if this is a big joke. The way it's so, like he comes out and he says, "I'm not the Antichrist," and you're like, someone who's Antichrist would say that, and your whole vibe is black beanie, black clothes, black room, everything about you. It's as the kids would say, it's giving Antichrist. Take a look at his official YouTube channel, and like I don't want to put more of a spotlight on this guy, but people are talking about him. Take a look at this here. Top videos, okay. Fundraiser, 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 fundraiser. His top 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. All of his videos are fundraisers. He's trying to make money. And you're like, brother, if you're trying to convince people that you are following in the footsteps of Jesus and you're a successor to him and you're carrying on his work, you're doing a really bad job of it. Now, behind this whole thing seems to be this sort of like syncretist like movement between Islam and Christianity, this sort of idea that, or ideology that the two are actually one and that we can bring them together, that they are coherent and that they work together. This is, as I said, that's bogus. It's also an idea that's low-key infiltrated some Christian circles like this one here. So if you're interested in that, I've a wee video about that, but I'll maybe saying that. Thank you for being here though, and I will see you soon. God bless.